Yeah, oh, Senzo Mewa trial. Back at it again. Very interesting trial that just keeps giving. You know, it's a story that just keeps giving. Do you still remember that we spoke, or at some point, not we spoke, at some point, Judge Rata Mokhwatleng once said, when I was practicing as a lawyer, every time when we wanted the notebook and what from the police, we will be told it's missing, it was never there. Do you still remember that? I still remember Judge Rata saying that. We were waiting to be finished with a lot of evidence from court today, the cars and all the stuff. Guess what? Coincidentally, the state vehicles are not fitted with AVL. But I expected that myself. I was not surprised, like literally, guys, I was not surprised. Yeah, we got told today that there were never records of that nature, so we must just forget about it, right? And Advocate Malo Nisi, in fact, had to say, wait. When I asked, was it Jonathan? Jonathan said no, those records exist. Now that we want those records, suddenly those records have disappeared. It is going back to what who's this guy? It is going back to what Judge Rata once said. He spoke about this thing, that it's a known tendency from the South African Police Service that whenever they want those things, they will never get them. And I am of the view that it is about time that there be an amendment of law. It is about time that the law is amended to speak to these things. Because if these things keeps continuing or keeps happening, we are going to have a lot of problems. I'm telling you, we are going to have a lot of problems. Not just a problem. We are going to have a lot of problems. Believe you me. I want you to listen to Advocate Mnisi here.
It tells me that the supplier is the person who could have or who could be in possession of this AVL record. And I've mentioned, Madam, that this information is central to my presentation of accused number 3's case as per the instructions that I got from him. Therefore, it cannot simply be admitted on the strength of what is contained in here, and the person who penned this affidavit not being summoned to come and explain the circumstances relating to the leasing of the motor vehicle. Number one, I'm sorry, my lord. The instruction that I got from accused number 1 in relation to his arrest on the 5th, this does not involve accused number 3. So it is just not enough for somebody to pen an affidavit and say, I'm unable to get information here, and therefore the story must end up then deep. Because these AVL records are central to a just decision in this matter as it relates to accused number 3's case, my lord, without which accused number 3 would not have had a fair trial. I'm sorry, accused number 1 would not have had a fair trial, my lord. The same thing applies to the Zungu AVL thing, AVL request of let me repeat again. The same thing applies to the requested AVL information of the motor vehicle that Zungu was using on the 26th of October 2014. As per his testimony, we concerned with the AVL. If the state was able to get the AVL on the Toyota Fortuner, summarily, they are unable to get the AVL records on these vehicles that you're requesting here. When a member of the investigating team specifically indicated that all vehicles are fitted with AVLs, it's very surprising, my lord. It's not only surprising, but it confirms our view that we held all along, that we could not have actually expected our persecutors to become our redeemers and saviors at the same time. And this is exactly what is happening here. And I pray that it does not really come to that. There's no investigation, proper investigation that was done here.
Okay, so I'm not, personally, I wasn't expecting anything. Like I said, I'm repeating myself. I wasn't expecting that we will find this, but we will find the records. Look, if ever we found those records, we were going to be shocked. And one question that you've got to ask yourself you've got to ask yourself, you've got to ask yourself the following question. How come we found the AVL of the Fortuner? It could be that them giving us the AVL for the Fortuner, it was them trying to prove their innocency, not noticing that there was some evidence that would have come back and crucify them. And now that they realize that there's an evidence that came back to bite us here, we are not going to give them this evidence. I want to know, can the South African Police Service take an oath and say, under oath, we are saying these cars were never fitted with with AVL? And if so, if they take that record, then it's fine. If they take such an oath, then it's fine. Then we institute investigation. Yeah. But again, unfortunately, we don't have that power. If it was according to me, that's the route. But Advocate Timnisi as well have spoken about the fact that since you guys are saying whatever you are saying, it's fine. The best thing that should happen is that we should get all the people that says they couldn't find the records, we should get them to come and testify. Which is to say, okay, if this is the case, then it's fine. Let's get them here and let them come and incriminate themselves. Should anybody and everybody does an investigation, we know that they incriminated themselves in the past. Which I thought to myself, that's a wise move. I would do that too. That's a wise move, right? Well, not that wise, but yeah, that's a wise move according to me. What about you? Let's listen to the other video from Advocate Timnisi, because yeah, has been busy. He's been now grilling Brigadier Bongani Geninda. Even though I'm struggling a bit to understand. For me, he hasn't been clear as to where are we going with that cross-examination. But I do know, as a matter of fact, that he's going somewhere. He's still, laying the bases. But let's listen to him here.
I am still requesting that the people who penned this affidavit should either come to court here and give their explanation, be cross-examined, or be assisted on how to conduct this investigation. Rather than to simply accept on the face of it what they are saying here. But in the main, my lord, this is central to the fair trial as it relates to accused number one. In so far as Mr. Mabena's vehicle is concerned, I heard a state saying my request was threefold. I'm not involved with Mr. Mabena's vehicle. But it can also be mentioned, my lord, that on the basis of what the court said, that all the AVL records of motor vehicles that were involved in the arrest of this accused person must be brought to court, then that remains also a requirement that AVL records must also be brought to this court. The fact that this motor vehicle was involved in an accident, it's neither here nor there. Unless the states want us to believe that that accident also took away the records that are stored in their system, which will be very unintelligent, my lord. We appreciate the information that this motor vehicle was involved in an accident, but there is nothing that explains in this document what is the situation with the AVL records. Thank you.
So, listening to this, you can somehow conclude, and you can see it for what it is, guys. You can see that, no, these people know exactly what happened here. That's one. They know that, okay, should the AVL record be made available, we are done. Or they will finish us broad daylight. We don't stand a chance to survive what is coming up. I think that is what they realize. Because guys, it can't be that the state vehicle, because you've got to ask yourself simple questions. So you mean to tell me that if you were to lose these vehicles, you wouldn't recover those vehicles, do you? Like, as safety measures, how come a state-owned vehicle does not have an AVL? What security measures do you put in place that should this car get should this car get lost? Should thieves rob us this car? What are we gonna use to recover the car? Like, is tracker and all the stuff not a security measure? It just doesn't make sense, guys. It literally doesn't make sense. You can tell that somebody's hiding something here. I'm telling you, somebody's hiding something here. And these are the things that when we are watching these cases, we're supposed to get inspired. We're supposed to trust police. We're supposed to trust these key institutions. But things like this does not inspire hope, does not inspire faith, does not inspire confidence. How come a state vehicle does not have a tracker? It doesn't make sense to me. Literally doesn't make sense. It literally doesn't make sense to me. It will never make sense to me. But you've got to tell me in the comment section below what you think. Right now, I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out where is Advocate Mnisi going. But even last week, last of last week, he did the same thing. Whereas it was difficult to know where he was going, only to find that when he landed his point, then I was like, wow. Now I see where you're going. I see where you're going. I understand exactly where you're going. So you've got to tell me in the comment section below, if you are watching the case, do you see where he's going? I see the ground that is covering, though. I'm not saying he's doing a bad job, don't get me wrong. I see the grounds that is covering, the bases, the basic principles that is trying to build upon. I see them. It's just that I'm like, I wonder, because the big point where he's landing hasn't arrived yet. I'm hoping before the end of this day, we will have such a landing, which will be nice to see. Nevertheless, let me love and leave you here. I will see you guys on the next episode. But until that next episode, good people, please take care.